next in my Cinderella Chronicles videos, and I'm just going to tell you about a couple movies, a couple picture books, and a novel retelling. And I will start with the Birmingham Royal Ballet's Cinderella. And I did not know there was a Cinderella ballet prior to all of the research I had been doing. But this is Prokofiev. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but it is his ballet, and I will put the year of origin because I don't want to get it wrong. So I'll put it down there so you can know. But I am not really someone who knows much about ballet, so aside from saying that there were extremely beautiful costumes and it was just such a lush, unbelievably beautiful set, I unfortunately don't have much interesting to say about this. The music I really did appreciate. It's very romantic in style, and I just thought it was really conducive to the storyline. And I did also appreciate there was a lot of comic relief with the stepsisters and the stepmother, so that was really fun. Other than that, I don't have, much interesting, clever things to say about ballet. And do bear with me on the lighting because clouds are going back and forth, so it's going to change a little bit throughout. But next on the list is the silent film from 1914 starring Mary Pickford. This is on YouTube for those of you who are interested in seeing it. I think it was around 50 minutes, so just under an hour, and it was it's just really so different, and I don't have much experience with silent films, so I didn't exactly know what to make of it. I have, such a soft spot for like the Disney cartoon, and so this is just, it feels very different, but it was definitely fun to watch and to kind of see the very first film version of Cinderella and see kind of, the mother of all the other films. Some things about the story that I thought were interesting was the stepsisters, the night before the ball, decide they're going to go see a fortune teller to tell them if they will marry the prince. And while they're there, she has all of these little like gnomes or dwarfs there they're her like little minions. Anyhow, then the stepsisters that night toss and turn in bed because they just can't. They have a guilty conscience about everything about going to see this fortune teller. Then later on, when the fairy godmother shows up to Cinderella, she gets Cinderella to catch the mice for her and to catch the rats for her. I would have said, that's okay. You know what? I don't have to go to the ball because I am not catching mice or rats. So I couldn't believe that. She's carrying like the little mouse traps and rat traps. And I just thought that was such a funny detail. I found it interesting that in a couple different stories I've read or Cinderella that I've watched now, the instant the glass slipper is put on Cinderella's foot, she's transformed back into the ball version of herself, where she has on the glamorous dress and the hair and everything. So I thought that was a neat element and makes the story seem even more magical for it just to be this instant change back into, the ball version of Cinderella. So yeah, interesting. And if you are, really want to do research on the fairy tale, I think it's a fun one. But nothing much else to report on it after that. Then some picture books to mention, and this one has been my favorite thus far. It's called Ella's Big Chance. So this is a jazz age Cinderella, and I didn't know how much I was going to like it, but I really did like this a lot. The illustrations are, part of it that I really like, but in addition to that, the story is just told in such a fun way. And so this is illustrated and written by Shirley Hughes. And Ella works in a dress shop with her father. They run it together, and her mother had died when she was little. And then, of course, he decides that maybe they should have, somebody else in the house. And, someone to help take care of her. So here's the stepmother and stepsisters, and then they start having her do all the sewing for them, and they get to model the clothes to their customers. And in the meanwhile, one thing that is some consolation for Ella is that she has a very good friend who she's grown up with, who he's the doorman at the store. And so their friendship is a really nice element in the story. And then I will just show you her when she is transformed. So if you don't want to be ruined for it, don't look. But just the way that the story is told, and the ending is a little bit of a twist, and I thought it was really sweet. And apparently this is also has a foreword by Philip Pullman, of all people, which was kind of surprising to me. So I highly recommend that one. Like I said, it's totally like up there for me now in Cinderella retellings. And I think a movie of Ella's Big Chance would be great. Oh, and it also got the Kate Greenaway Illustration Award. Next on the list is Barbara McClintock's Cinderella. And this one really takes a lot from the Renaissance. And it looks very, very French. So you can see the stepsisters here with the wigs. That to me just looks so French. And this is Charles Perrault's text, who was, you know, the first one to make it famous. So I like this because I think the illustrations are really cozy, and I like kind of the color scheme that they've got going, and they're really just nice pen and ink illustrations. And this is a really fun one, so I'll pan this one. So it starts out with the stepsisters, and they're shocked when they're Cinderella trying on the slipper. So I really liked this one, Barbara McClintock. And this next one is just called Cinderella, and it is written and illustrated by Ruth Sanderson. What I like about this one, folks, is that there is glitter involved. So I don't know if you can see it there, but all of these swirls here are glitter on the cover. What I like about this one is kind of a similar thing that I liked about KY Craft. I love the use of, like, the play of light in this. So here, you know, you can see the castle in this first picture. I love the emphasis on the light and how it really looks almost like the picture is backlit, you know, like it's really glowing. And you can see here how the light is shining down on Cinderella while she's laying down by this tree. And what's another good example? Yeah, I love this. How the emphasis of the light is really on the fairy godmother and the horses that have just been transformed. So I really think the illustrations in this are particularly beautiful. I've been really pleased by just how many cool picture book versions that there are. This next one is retold by Cynthia Rylant, and the pictures are by Mary Blair. And this one was made after the 1950s Disney cartoon came out. So I love that the color schemes and everything are from that. Mary Blair painted all the pictures for the Disney cartoon, and you can just tell it shows so much. So there's the house. Here's the stepmother. You can tell that this really, I just think it's so cool to have somebody who, you know, illustrated a cartoon to then make illustrations for a picture book. And here's the palace all glowing. I love it, how it's like all lit up in the background. The text in this is very, very fairy tale-ish. So it definitely feels like you're reading a fairy tale. It doesn't, it just feels very romantic. Yeah, so for instance, this page says, how does a young man find his maiden? His heart leads him. He finds her in a room. He asks her to dance, and when he touches her, he knows. So it's very over-the-top melodramatic writing, but I think it's fun for fairy tales to have that sometimes. So then moving on to a novel retelling I read, and that is Disenchanted, The Trials of Cinderella by Megan Morrison. This is the follow-up. It's in a series called The Land of Time, and I read Tangled, The Trials of Rapunzel, not The Trials of. I'll show a picture of the Rapunzel one first, and then Disenchanted by Megan Morrison. So this is a follow-up, and you do hear Rapunzel mentioned a couple of times vaguely, just like in passing. So I think that's fun if you're going to build a world to have that. But this one is really neat because it incorporates the Cinderella elements, although in this one, it's that Cinderella kind of starts out her relationship with her stepmother is rocky, and then they kind of gain an understanding of one another. And I like that because that seems kind of more realistic than just the wicked stepmother. It seems people are complex, and that, you know, she wouldn't be just a wicked stepmother. She might just be a little oblivious, or just kind of the more normal emotions that like real people feel. And I really appreciated that element about it. It was also really fun world building with, there was a whole like political system in play, and lots of talk about the economics of the day. And there was a school and kind of the different, there was lots to do with like climbing up in society and trying to schmooze with the right people. And Cinderella ends up going to the same school as the prince. And then what I also really liked about this is there was a lot of social commentary on work conditions. So a lot of the families in the town that Cinderella lives in are making money off of silk. So it's talking about the factory conditions for the workers who are working in these factories. So all in all, I just really liked how it combined kind of fairy tale story, but this really cool world that I felt like I definitely got to hang out there for a while and have an understanding of. And it's neat because Cinderella becomes kind of this champion for safe conditions for workers. So she was definitely this like fully fledged human being. She had agency, and I just thought it was a really cool story. So yes, I definitely recommend Disenchanted, The Trials of Cinderella. I will see you guys for another Cinderella Chronicle video soon, and I hope you have a lovely day.